So you're going to start us out, and then we'll be good.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see the faces that I can see on the screen, and so grateful that everybody is joining us. This is our kickoff informational for the Family Justice Center grant. I'm Joyette Holmes, the Cobb District Attorney, and we are overjoyed for this opportunity to partner with our partner agencies and build upon that for what is going to be an amazing center that's going to be a resource for victims and people that we serve in a bunch of different groups, and to ultimately have one space where those organizations and agencies that are partnering will be to offer those resources will be amazing. So for all of you who have been a part of the grant application process, supporting us through that process so that we could get to this point, I just say thank you. We'll have a few people who will come up who will speak in more detail about the Family Justice Center and what it will do and what a benefit it will be for this community. Only one of two others that were granted this in the state of Georgia. So listen up, stay tuned, get as excited as I am about what this is going to mean for our community, the community that we support, live, play, and work in. So Kim, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Joyette. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kim McCoy with the District Attorney's Office Victim Witness Unit, and we are delighted that our partners are with us. Many of them are with us via WebEx just because we are all being cautious with the current health epidemic. And then we wanted to bring this to our community live via the YouTube channel. So we appreciate Cobb County government. We appreciate Cobb County IS. We appreciate Cobb Communications for assisting us in putting this community kickoff and informational meeting on through this platform. So Joyette welcomed you and told you a little bit about the center. What I want to do is tell you why we need a Family Justice Center. Let me introduce you to Mary. Mary is a victim of domestic violence who came to the Victim Witness Unit in the District Attorney's Office because she was a victim of a felony criminal case that happened here in Cobb County. She and her children were both impacted by the crime of domestic violence and intimate partner violence crime. Mary was strapped for money. She was experiencing great difficulty in getting everything done while being virtually a single parent, trying to raise her children, navigate social services, and navigate the criminal justice system here in Cobb County. And while we are all one community in Cobb County, for those of you who live, work, or play here, you know how vast this county can be. So it's a big county. It's hard to navigate sometimes and hard to travel. So in addition to the court system, Mary had to visit a number of different places to seek help. She sought the services of Live Safe, the Temporary Protective Order Office, in order to get a protective order. She required several meetings and several different court hearings. She also sought the assistance of legal aid because she was getting evicted from the apartment that she and her abuser lived in together, and he was the signatory on the leasing agreement. So she had to have some legal help navigating that. She also had to meet with the police department, not only to participate in law enforcement interviews, but because the police department was also the safe place for her to drop her children off when there were custody exchanges that were involved with her children. And last but not least, she was served by Safe Path Children's Advocacy Center for counseling for her children, as well as she, the adult, was receiving counseling through Live Safe Resources Counseling Department. In Mary's case alone, if you were following what I said, she accessed 6 different service agencies in 6 different locations in Cobb County in 6 different buildings, relying on the assistance of friends and family and public transportation to help her access those services. This is why we need a Family Justice Center. We need to take those services to Mary and her children. We need to be a cohesive community that provides those services for those children and Mary in one central location so that navigation is not part of the difficulty for a victim. And that's what a Family Justice Center can bring to Cobb County. So I want to introduce you to the community partners. The partners specifically on the grant are Live Safe Resources, Safe Path Children's Advocacy Center, the Cobb County Police Department, the Cobb County Government, and the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. So I'm going to give each of these agencies just a second to say hello, to introduce themselves, and to talk to you about the Family Justice Center. Ginger, I'm going to go to you first since I see you're set up. If you can unmute yourself and just say hello.
Hi, my name is Robin, and I am the CEO of Safe Path Children's Advocacy Center. We have been located in Cobb County since 1996, and we are very happy to say that we recognized a long time ago that child abuse and allegations of child abuse and serving those victims and their non-family caregivers is a community problem. It takes all of us to solve the problem. Sounds like I'm getting a little early audio, so hopefully you all can understand me. Are we okay? And just that we are co-housed with law enforcement, medical, mental health professionals, advocacy center professionals, and we want to begin with this Family Justice Center in a way that will bring a reduction to crime in Cobb County and increase in services to victims, including children and adults who are having several different agencies. We are very excited to be part of this. We know that our vision of community free of child abuse needs to be a community free of victimization and crime for anyone who resides in Cobb. And the vision of the Family Justice Center will help us put concrete methods in place to be able to produce probably one of the best counties in Cobb serving victims and crime reduction in our county. And I'm honored to be one of the vital partners in this adventure. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Covarrubias with Live Safe Resources. We are the only domestic violence shelter in Cobb County, and we provide sexual assault crisis services in Cobb, Paulding, and Cherokee, available to anyone ages 13 and up. On a typical year, we provide about 4,000 crisis calls. We see over 1,000 clients within our temporary protective order program, and we provide around 200 sexual assault medical forensic exams. We have long had partnerships with other organizations, nonprofits, and also agencies such as the District Attorney's Office and local police departments, and that's wonderful. But even with the best partnerships and the best intentions, our clients often come into many barriers, and it can be really off-putting. You have families who require different services, whether it's for the victim of the crime or for secondary victims, their children, etc. And this Family Justice Center is going to give us the opportunity to be co-located in one space and further develop our partnership to better serve clients. So we're very excited about it. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Tim Cox, and I'm with the Cobb County Police Department. First of all, I want to congratulate all our partners on this grant being awarded. This is an awesome opportunity to move Cobb County further. Earlier today, I was involved in a conference or a discussion with a group of members that deal with law enforcement issues throughout the metro Atlanta area. And through that, I learned that Cobb County has a wonderful or great reputation in getting the job done, and that a lot of our federal partners like working with us because of the thoroughness and the extra effort that many of us do to make things right for our victims. But as most of us know that have been in this field for a long, long time, we can even sometimes get confused and run into barriers just trying to navigate through different systems. Using the scenario or the story that Kim used earlier, that lady with those children, I cannot imagine she's the victim, but yet she's having to deal with all these other issues and trying to navigate through the system while she's never been through that before. This opportunity to have a one location where all these services can be provided, that can only ease that anxiety or that fear or that concern that she may be going through, or even her children may be going through. So I think this is an excellent opportunity. The Cobb County Police Department is very glad to be a part of this, and we look forward to moving forward on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Deputy County Manager Giese, thank you for being with us. You're fairly new to this project with us, but we wanted to give you the opportunity to say hello as well.
Thanks, Kim. It's what's amazing in this whole process is that this is a much larger issue than any one of us can tackle. So it's very rewarding that this many community partners come together to tackle this issue. Of course, Cobb County we're always standing ready to support in any way that we can. Consider us like the backbone that everything grows out of. And I'm looking forward to learning much more about the project in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Giese. I also want to recognize that Kate Gaffney is with us virtually. She's with our Legal Aid Division in Cobb County, very supportive of this initiative and of this project, as well as the Solicitor's Office, Cobb County IS, just a wide variety of members from our community, property management, that are here with us. And so thank you all very much for being here with us this afternoon. The large part of the rest of our presentation is going to be brought to us by the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, who will fill you in on what exactly a Family Justice Center model concept is, as well as kind of introduce you to some of our next steps. So if you'll please help me welcome Jeannie Asman, who is the Family Justice Center Coordinator for the state of Georgia. And she will discuss some further components about the Family Justice Center. Jenny?
Great, thank you so much, Kim, and I am so excited to be here today to help Cobb County launch this incredibly important project in your community. As Kim said, I'm Jenny Asman. I am serving as the statewide Family Justice Center Coordinator at Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, or CJCC as we're commonly referred. And earlier this year, CJCC launched our Family Justice Center initiative to support the development and implementation of family justice centers in Georgia. And we launched this initiative because we truly believe in the vision and the mission of the Family Justice Center model. And we know that this model will help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse in our state achieve the safety and the healing and the justice that they deserve. And it will help our nonprofit partners and government partners across the state to really create a more coordinated community response to serve victims throughout our state and address violence. The Family Justice Center initiative at CJCC prioritizes VOCA funding to support the intensive planning and implementation process necessary to stand up a family justice center. So it's an incredible model, and there are a lot of really great things that come out of it. And it takes some time to get all the pieces in place to co-locate all of the great service providers and partners that we have on the call here today, and that will be part of the Family Justice Center. And after a very competitive process this fall, grant application process, we are so happy to have made an award to Cobb County through the District Attorney's Office to be one of our first of three awarded communities, or one of the first three awarded communities for our initiative in Georgia. Cobb County has a robust history of working collaboratively together to address domestic violence, sexual assault, elder abuse, and child abuse, and has really shown incredible commitment by the partners on the grant and on this call today to the planning and opening of a family justice center in Cobb County. So these are all really important components of a community ready to take on this kind of comprehensive and collaborative project. So over the next 2 years, a Family Justice Center site coordinator supported through the Family Justice Center Initiative grant, along with all of the wonderful leaders on the call here today, will lead Cobb County through an intensive strategic planning process, which will result in opening a Family Justice Center in Cobb County in 2023. So that means we're only just over 2 years away from having a family justice center in Cobb County. So before I get into the details about what's going to happen in those next 2 years, I want to spend a little bit more time talking about the Family Justice Center model itself. I think you have a pretty good overview of what we're trying to do and co-locate services, but I want to talk a little bit more about some of the unique components of a Family Justice Center. So Family Justice Centers provide one safe and convenient location for victims to access all of the critical services and agencies that they may need as they navigate through the different pathways to safety, right? And the example that Kim gave earlier is a great example of all of the different services that are provided in Cobb County that are necessary to achieve safety, but the barriers in accessing those are very real for many victims. So this model brings together criminal justice-based services such as the district attorney's office and law enforcement, and brings together those criminal-based services along with community-based advocates such as Live Safe Resources and Safe Path that we've heard about earlier as well, to coordinate and collaborate on a comprehensive approach to providing wraparound services to victims and their children so that they can access everything they need under one roof in one single place. So the Family Justice Center in Cobb County will convene the service providers that are already serving your community. So there won't be any duplication or competition between the Family Justice Center and all of the partners on the grant. Instead, those existing service providers will co-locate and provide those services through the Family Justice Center. And victims who come to the Family Justice Center will be connected to those services through a centralized intake process. So the centralized location of the Family Justice Center ultimately reduces the number of places a victim has to go to receive help and services. And then the centralized intake process reduces the number of times a victim has to tell their story. So it really helps a victim only have to tell her story once through that centralized intake process and then access the different services that they're looking for. So that happens through working with an intake advocate, or sometimes called a navigator within the Family Justice Center model, who works with the victim as soon as they come in the door to inform them of the wide range of services that are available to them at the Family Justice Center. And then the victim decides through that conversation which of those services that they want to access, what makes the most sense for them of what's going on in their life and their situation. And then they also decide who in the center has access to their confidential information. So the entire process is very victim-centered. It's led by the victim, and the victim really determines, who she wants to speak with and who she wants to interact with as she navigates this process. And so there's no requirement that a victim interact with any of the services that are available at the Family Justice Center as well. So this model first began in San Diego in 2002. So it has been around for just over 20 years, and it was originally built upon the Child Advocacy Center model, right, that co-locates service providers for child abuse with law enforcement and prosecutors as well. But since 2002, the model has been replicated in over 130 communities in 42 states and in over 25 different countries. So Cobb County will be joining a very large and connected community of centers all over the world. And Family Justice Centers are replicated because of the incredible impact that they can have on the lives of victims and children in the communities where they exist. So often communities with Family Justice Centers see a significant increase in victims accessing and using the services that are available to them. We see an increased efficiency in providing those collaborative services from the partners who are a part of the Family Justice Center. We see increased prosecution rates of offenders. We see increased reports of victim safety and well-being. And we see reduced domestic violence-related homicides. So in fact, in communities with Family Justice Centers, some have reported as much as a 75 to 90% decrease in domestic violence-related homicides after their centers open. So that is a truly incredible outcome. So we know this model can and will save lives in Cobb County. So before I move into kind of what the next 2 years look like and how do we get this built in Cobb County, what are we going to be doing? I have a video that we were trying to get set up. I'm going to check in and see if we're ready to try that and see if we can get that playing.
Yes, give us just a second to switch
Okay, no
up.
problem. Yeah. So the video that we're going to show is of a family justice center that is operating in North Carolina. And the video does a really great job of showcasing, how these partners work together under one roof, and how the model can impact not only the outcomes for survivors, but really the benefit that the partners get out of co-locating through this model as well.
Opened our first location in Greensboro in 2015 with that goal of really reducing domestic violence, homicides, but actually coordinating care well. And in 2018, we opened our second location in High Point to be countywide. It's expanding that family justice framework between 2 cities and throughout the county, making our services accessible to victims and survivors of abuse and neglect. We now have over 100 professionals representing 17 different programs and services, integrating all of these different resources into one place, really making that burden that survivors often experience when they disclose abuse easier to navigate and to get the services and support that they need. The other side of our organization is better equipping survivors with resources, making that process of navigating the systems of help easier. It's really looking at strategies for offender accountability, recognizing that we have to do both. We have to support survivors, but we must also hold those who are committing these crimes accountable for their actions.
One thing that we recognize is that as police officers, we can't solve all the problems, but we can help. And when we recognize that there are resources in our communities that we can be a part of bringing together into one place, then we were all for it. So we assigned a full investigative squad, our family victim unit, to be housed in the Family Justice Center building. With that, they have more time to ensure that they investigate cases more fully. And so therefore, you have more accountability with these offenders.
We're better as a partnership. We're better in groups. Family Justice Center is an excellent example of that. We can see multiple agencies working together, major departments working together, different governments from the county to the cities working together, all in support of our citizens. That's what we're all here for, is to make those citizens safe and to make sure that they're able to get through the situations they're in. Family Justice Center just really resonates that effort. Anybody that's experiencing these types of situations, they need help. Take that chance, come forward. We've got professional teams that are committed to supporting you, and we've had much success in getting people through to positive outcomes.
I have a lot of Hispanic community, Latino community visiting, and sometimes having someone in their own language that can understand their culture, and and at the same time we can explain them the dynamics of the domestic violence specifically, and they understand. Okay, I can get help. I can be helped in this place, and giving them the tools to go back to the communities feeling safe, stable, and have hope for their communities and their families.
We have a child advocacy center, and so on site here we can conduct forensic interviews. We have people qualified to do that here, and what that does for the child is it minimizes the amount of time that they'll have to tell their story. They only have to tell their story once, because you don't want to re-victimize them over and over again. And even still, if an adult is here, say she has to bring her children because they're not safe, we have this room here where they can sit, we have snacks, we just try to do whatever we can do to help make that a little easier through a really difficult situation when there are kids involved.
When you're face to face with partners, things happen. Being able to walk into a partner's office, whether it's the Greensboro Police Department, legal aid, family service, our child advocacy center, being able to actually walk into their offices and talk with that specific provider about a client situation has been so helpful.
My name is Brenda White, and I am a survivor of domestic violence and a member of the Voices Committee with the Family Justice Center. I am very involved. I am very excited about the possibilities of survivorship. When you walk in the door, you're greeted with a smile, and they say, "How can I help you?" And you know help is on the way, and you're in the right place. If you're afraid and just don't know, and you need to make that phone call, the one thing to do is make that phone call. The Family Justice Center brings all of that to play. It wasn't in play when I went through my ordeal 7 years ago, but to know the difference and what could have been and what is reality now makes all the difference in the world. The Family Justice Center is just that. It's that one-stop shop that you can come to for any and everything that you need. And that's why I am such an advocate for Family Justice Center.
One-stop shop here at the center.
Great. Thank you so much for showing that video for everyone to see an example of really what we're trying to build, right? It's pretty incredible what they were talking about, right? You can really see through that video how powerful this model is and the change that it can make, not only to improve outcomes for survivors and victims who are able to use the services in this new way, but how it can really serve the participating partners as well. And really help them to better achieve, their own vision and mission for their own agencies. So how do we get something like this here in Cobb County? Where do we begin? What's the process going to look like? So what I'll tell you is that this, today is just the beginning of bringing the Cobb County community partners that are at this meeting today and everybody watching on the live stream on YouTube together to talk about the vision for the Family Justice Center. Over the next 2 years, there's going to be, a lot of meetings and a lot of activities and a lot of opportunity to plug into the planning process, as well as commitments that we need from our community partners to get us from where we are today to opening the doors to the Family Justice Center in 2023. We're going to need each person who is, at the meeting today, who's again watching at home, to help work with us to build this center. And we need commitment from everyone in the community who serves victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and child abuse to help us build a comprehensive center that truly serves the entire community of Cobb County. So over the next 2 years, there will be a Family Justice Center site coordinator, hopefully coming into their position in January of next year, who will be working with the core partners of the grant to begin really engaging community partners to develop a robust and detailed strategic plan with corresponding working groups. We'll be hosting focus groups with survivors and advocates to design a center that best meets the needs of victims, and learning from the experts on the Family Justice Center model and from other directors at centers like on the video we just watched, so we can really build a solid foundation informed by best practices. There's a lot of lessons we can learn from, over the 130 Family Justice Centers that are already in operation. And, a great strategy, I think, is building connections with them and relationships with them to bring the best of the best to Cobb County. Specifically, some of the activities that the site coordinator will be conducting with the core partners is that they're going to be working with the community to complete a community assessment to capture the extent of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse in Cobb County, and all of the different service providers and services that are currently available to address the problems in Cobb County. They're going to be reaching out to community partners and diverse community members to share the vision of the Family Justice Center and listening for ideas and feedback on what we can incorporate into the planning process. So what are specific things from your partners that they would like to see in the Family Justice Center? With that, it's going to be really important to reach out to survivors to learn what services that they would like to see at the Family Justice Center. and to inform the eventual design of the center and the policies and procedures at the center. We saw in that video with the survivor that was highlighted towards the end, right? Even though the center wasn't available for her to use when she went through her victimization, she had a lot of insight to offer on, why a center like this would have been helpful, and, her vision and services that she would have liked to use had the center been available, and sort of her vision for victims now and what she wants them to be able to access. We're going to be touring state-of-the-art family justice centers in other states to bring back those ideas and those lessons learned to inform the entire planning process. So there are several states, within close proximity that have a number of family justice centers, and there are really strong centers all across the U.S. So we'll be planning some trips with, depending on COVID, we're not quite sure what that will look like, but our goal is to physically go to some centers and take some tours and really see an open center to get a sense of what we need to bring back to Cobb County as well. The site coordinator and core partners will be creating a space for, significant and intentional community collaboration and exploring how the center can benefit, again, not only the victims in Cobb County, but also how can we increase service provision and efficiency for our partners that are going to be at the Family Justice Center. And of course, engaging the entire community in a strategic planning process. Where we will dream really big, right, about what is possible in Cobb County. What's our vision? What is our dream for what this center could do and who could be co-located here? And then we'll develop the mission and the vision and the goals for the center. And then we'll roll up our sleeves and get to work. We'll be putting together several planning and work groups to bring this all to life. So groups to design a governance structure, to oversee the center, right, get into place MOUs of how things are going to operate and who does what and what is this going to all look like. There'll be work groups to identify a location and oversee possible renovations and the design of what it's going to look like, to develop the intake and operations manual for the center, to inform, community engagement and outreach. How are we going to let the community know that this is one of the large entry points for services in our community that they can come to for services? And of course, how are we going to collect data to track our progress, right? How are we going to have and design an evaluation process to really measure the impact that we're having in the lives of victims and their children and service providers in Cobb County? So those are the main activities of the grant over the next couple of years that are going to get us to opening those doors in 2023. So, right, that's a big journey that's ahead of us. And, there are a lot of things to do. But, I'm confident that the leaders and all of the community partners in Cobb County who serve the citizens of this community have the vision and the drive and the stamina to make this dream of a family justice center come true, right? You guys have such a strong history of working together on big projects like this, that I know you can do it. And part of my role at CJCC is to provide ongoing support and technical assistance to help make sure that you're able to overcome any obstacles or bumps in the road that you might encounter. So I just want to thank you all for being here today and for your support already towards this movement to get a family justice center planned in Cobb County. One of the first ways that we are inviting you to be involved in this process is to complete a Family Justice Center readiness assessment. So this assessment is going to help us better understand the current level of interagency coordination and problem solving that exists in Cobb County with your partners already. So it only is going to take about 15 minutes to complete. And our hope is that at the conclusion of this meeting, that you'll go ahead and knock that assessment out and go ahead and complete that for us. But if not, please complete it as soon as possible, or at the latest January 8th is when we'll close that assessment. And I believe the link is posted on the District Attorney's Family Justice Center website, which we'll talk more about in a second, as well as the Facebook page. So the link will be there for you to click on it and complete the assessment. So thank you so much. And I look forward to working with all of you over the next several years.
Thank you, Jenny. We appreciate that in-depth overview that you provided to us of a Family Justice Center and the great things that we can look forward to in Cobb County. I hope you all are as excited as I am about this movement. I know that there are several people who are watching and who are participating, who honestly have had this dream with me for 23 years in Cobb County. And so we want to thank the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for providing the funds to finally get to where we need in establishing a site coordinator. Again, just thank Cobb County Government, Property Management, Cobb IS, all of our grant partners for being on board with this and for helping us move forward. Ginger Robbins, you've been with me the whole time, dreaming of this concept, and we're finally together and seeing it happen. So we're so thankful that those of us who've been dreaming this dream, one of the concepts of a Family Justice Center is to dream big. And so we've been dreaming big for a long time. It's just taken us a while to get here, but we're finally here, and we're going to make this happen for the victims of our community. Kimberly, if you don't mind putting up the flyer. As Jenny shared with you, one of the things that we need from the community is to participate in our community needs assessment. And so there is a lot of information on this flyer here, but one of the things that you'll see is on the Cobb DA website, we have a specific section devoted to the Family Justice Center information. So go to www.cobbda.com and just look for the Family Justice Center tab. We also have an email address set up just for the Family Justice Center, and that is fjccobb, C-O-B-B, @cobbcounty.org. From the DA's website, you can access the community assessment link, or if you can read it on the flyer, you can certainly get it from there. But once you go into the community assessment link, just choose Cobb County as your community represented. And then we do ask that you complete that before January the 8th so that our new site coordinator, once we have that person on board and in place, can help us in going through the community assessment links. So we want to thank you for your participation today. I do want to reiterate two of the things that Jenny said. We cannot do this, even the community partners, we can't do this on our own. We have to have the community involvement to be able to do this. Please help us by completing these community assessments. If you are interested in being an advisory council board member to the Justice Center or being on our Voices of Survivors group, please let us know by utilizing that website. We obviously need all the help that we can get in pulling this together. I do also want to announce that the Domestic Violence Task Force is also very involved in the implementation of the Family Justice Center, and their next meeting is going to be January the 6th at 11:30. That will be a virtual meeting as well, and we will post that link on the Family Justice Center website so that those of you who are interested will be able to access more information about the Domestic Violence Task Force as well. So on behalf of victims in Cobb, thank you again for joining us, and I want to ask District Attorney Holmes to lead us out of this meeting today.
All right, well, I thank everybody. Jenny and Kim have all already said everything that needs to be said. But from the information that you've gained through this meeting, talking to the partners and the members of the community that are tuned in, you see that it takes partnership to get great things done for our community. And so you all being a part of this process will mean everything to getting it done in these years to come. And then to be able to look back and see what in fact it has done for the community once it comes to fruition. So thank you. We couldn't have done this if we didn't have agencies within our community that are already fabulous and work so well in serving the community. But together, we know that we're going to be able to do amazing and in a more abundant way, serve these people like Mary that Kim described and what you saw in that video. So thank you. Let's keep pushing. There's a lot of work still to be done. But as the district attorney, having worked through the grant process and talking to and building on the support we already have from our partners, I just say thank you. Y'all have a great rest of the afternoon.